top of the hour. I am Cantor Lizzie Shammash. This is IJS Online Yoga Studio, and I, for one, am so happy that you're here, that we're all here together for community and for somatic practice, embodied practice today. So we're going to begin with a little bit of pranayama, a little breathing exercise. Then I'll teach a little Torah on Parshat Va'era, and then we'll practice some more. At quarter of, we'll stop and have Q&A, as I like to call it, Kiddush, for reflections and thoughts and questions. Our props for today are 2 blocks and a blanket. If you don't have them, don't worry, but the blanket you're definitely going to want. And if you don't have a blanket, a bath towel will certainly do. So while you're gathering those and making sure your space feels adequate for you for your practice today, just one announcement or 2 announcements. One is that registration is open for the prayer project with Rabbi Jonathan Slater, our esteemed and tremendous teacher on liturgical prayer. It's a wonderful 4-week prayer project course. I have experienced it, and it is amazing. So if you have time in your schedule and inclination to deepen your practice, I highly recommend it. Secondly, registration is now open for my yoga retreat at Kripalu, April 11th to 14th. I think it's 2 weeks before Pesach, together with Rabbi Sheila Peltz-Weinberg. The theme will be Pesach, of course, and leaving Mitzrayim, leaving constriction and moving to freedom. We'll be in community from Thursday night to Sunday and share Shabbat and chanting and yoga with me, yoga at Kripalu. If you're not familiar with Kripalu, it's the largest yoga center in North America, and it's a powerful space for seekers. I was just there in December to lead a retreat, and there were 25 of us. It was really gewaldig, really powerful. So if you're thinking that you need some time to just rest, rejuvenate, study, learn, be in community, check it out. Come join us. Okay, friends, let's come to a seated position. Maybe that is in the chair. Maybe that is on your mat. You can prop up on block or a blanket. Ground your sit bones. Yes, and thank you, Jet. A reminder, and I'll repeat it later too. We have no yoga next week due to Martin Luther King Jr. Day, national holiday. So finding your comfortable seat, ground your sit bones, and allow your spine to rise tall. And just take a moment and draw your chin down slightly. And then lift your nose a little bit. So just a little bit up and down. You can actually just use the nose as your guide. And think about the base of your skull. You can even take your hand or your hands to the base of your skull. And as you simply tip your head a little down and a little up, I'm really talking about just an inch or 2, just feel that you can invite some ease where the base of the skull meets the neck. And then make just tiny circles with your nose in the air, one direction and the other. And then pause. Let there be some suspension for the head atop the spine. You can leave the eyes gently open or allow them to close. We're going to begin with a breath exercise. Alternate nostril breathing. We're going to take the right hand and turn the first 2 fingers down into the palm. Take the thumb and the 4th finger to the bridge of your nose and draw down the bony part of your nose until you reach the cartilage, and just pause there. And just for a moment, breathe naturally in and out. Just bring your attention to breath coming and going. After your next exhale, close the right nostril with your thumb and inhale through the left nostril. Close off left, release right, and exhale. Inhale through the right nostril. Close off with your thumb, release the fourth finger, and exhale left. Inhale left. Close and exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Nothing special, just regular breathing. Inhale left. Doesn't have to be heroic in any way. See if you can exert less effort. Exhaling right. Inhaling right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right, and keep this going. So each one is exhale and then inhale through one nostril and then close and switch. It's all through the nose, not at all through the mouth. Just feel the breath coming and going. This helps to balance the nervous system, balance the sides of the body and the sides of the brain. If your attention wanders, simply bring it back to the breath, where you can feel it at the nostrils. And notice all that there is to notice. In the belly, in the rib cage, in the chest, all over your body. What do you notice? What do you feel? A couple more rounds like this. And next time you exhale through the left nostril, you can remove your hand. And if you're just beginning a round, take your time, finish the whole round. When you're done, allow the breath to return to its normal pattern. Observe how you feel. Ask yourself, how am I doing right now? In my body? Do you notice any places that need particular attention today? In my mind, what is the tempo of your thoughts or the nature of your thoughts? And how am I doing in my heart? Notice your heart state, your emotional state. Just taking a scan. And you can keep your eyes closed or you can allow your eyes to open. You can continue with that breathing while I speak a little bit, whatever you'd like for the next few moments. I want to share some thoughts. So as I said, today is the 27th of Tevet, and Rosh Chodesh Shvat will be Wednesday night and Thursday of this week. So soon we are on to a new moon already. And of course, we're in the second portion of a new book of Torah. We're in Exodus now. As we move from Genesis, from Bereshit, which is really about family, into Shemot, into Exodus, which is really about community and cohering as a people. I want to share just a few verses from the beginning of the Torah portion with a little bit of drash on them, a little bit of explanation and looking into them. So God appears to Moses at the beginning of Va'era, which means he appeared. And says, I am Yud He Vav He, and I want you to tell the Israelites about me. And God says, I've now heard the moaning of the Israelites because the Egyptians are holding them in bondage, and I've remembered my covenant. Say therefore to the Israelite people, I am Yud He Vav He. I will free you from the labors of the Egyptians, Veotseti, and deliver you from their bondage, Vetzalti, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and through chastisements, Vega'alti, and I will take you to be my people, Velakachti etchem li, and I will be your God. And those four verbs are the basis, by the way, for the 4 cups of wine at the Seder. And we're familiar with that passage. And then God goes on to say, I'm going to bring you into the land that I swore I would give to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and I'll give it to you for possession. But when Moses told this, all of this wonderful news that God is sharing, this connection that God is going to have with the people, they couldn't listen to Moses. Why? The Torah tells us their spirits were crushed by cruel bondage. Velo sham'u el Moshe, they couldn't listen, they couldn't hear Moses, mikotzer ruach. Kotzer coming from katzar, short, and ruach, of course, is spirit or breath. So from a shortness of breath, literally, or a shortening of spirit, they just couldn't hear these words, right? It couldn't be possible for them that such support could come to them. So, kotzer ruach is a state of distress, for sure, right? And in fact, when your breath does shorten chronically, sometimes it happens acutely, and sometimes it's a chronic state. When your breath begins to shorten as a chronic way of being, we know that leads us to all sorts of psychological and physical ailment, depression, anxiety, circulatory issues, stroke, high blood pressure, things that can actually lead to death. So kotzer ruach is a serious state, actually, when held for a long time. We can't think or act clearly, just as the Torah is saying. They couldn't grasp this. They couldn't think. This can come from trauma, as they were in, as many people are in today in this moment. And also it comes from small moments of anxiety and worry, right? We tighten. And we don't want it to become chronic, because then it becomes part of our landscape and we can't even at a certain point register the extent of our own distress, right? So we call that living in fight or flight, or living in a state of dysregulation. And as I said, it can cascade into many health issues. So what do we do on the mat, right? We listen in to our whole body, with our whole body, to increase our ability to self-regulate, to increase our ability to right the ship when we feel like we are becoming dysregulated. It's really important. And it's a balm for our body, for our soul, and you can think of it as weightlifting for the nervous system, right? When we lift weights, we're working on our bone density and our muscles and tendons and ligaments. When we work on our breath, we are doing a certain amount of exercise for the nervous system to balance. So I want to work today on things that will take us to the opposite of kotzer ruach, arukat ruach, I don't know, lengthening of our breath, lengthening of our spirit, but really to open up the respiratory system, which is not just breathing per se, but it's all the muscles of the shoulder girdle, of the core, of the pelvic floor. So we're gonna just take a nice overall practice today that'll help us get into those things and give us some awareness and some tools so that when we do get into a state of kotzer ruach, when we notice it for ourselves, we can also begin to undo it. So let's come to all fours, and if it's not comfortable for you to be on the knees or on the wrists, by all means, this can be done in the chair, sitting. So Knees under the hips directly and the wrists directly under the shoulders, and feel free to place your blanket under your knees for support if you'd like that. Let's come into a little bit of cat and cow. So as we inhale, drop the belly, widen the collarbones, take the gaze forward as the tail lifts up. And as we exhale, dome the middle back, curl. Expel all the air, tailbone and crown coming down. Inhale and arch, lengthen, open. Exhale and curl. And keep this going in your own breath. Generally, inhale and exhale are both through the nose, but sometimes I like to just really give a full expulsion, as you just heard, through the mouth. So feel free to do that too, sometimes just dropping your jaw and exhaling. You can use a sigh or a moan or some sound as well. So here we are, just linking movement and breath. And then come back to neutral. We're going to sit it back to child pose. You can place a blanket behind the knees if you'd like, to open up, to give some space to the back of the knees, or you can place a blanket at the hips. Or again, you can do this sitting in the chair by widening the knees and leaning forward, placing your forearms on your thighs. If you're on the floor, walk the fingertips forward. Really open up the armpits. Lift the elbows off the floor as I'm doing now, and tend to your fingertops. Extend the crown of your head forward, and begin to open the eyes of the elbows toward the ceiling. That's external rotation of the upper arm. That's the fancy term for it, but you can just think, I'm rotating the inner eyes of my elbows up in the direction of the ceiling, right? Just that's the directional movement. And then you can walk your fingertips out, plant your palms, and rest your forehead on a block or on your mat. Continuing to lift the elbows off the mat, so we're active here, long spine. Begin to, what I love about child pose is we can feel the belly really moving against the thighs. Feel some expansion and contraction of the belly, of the rib cage. See if you can also tune into any gripping you might be doing in the pelvic floor, and just release a little bit. Releasing our grip. That's the main kavanah in general of our practice. And then walk those hands over to the right, particularly the left arm. Extend. The whole left line of the body opening, intercostals. The whole armpit, the length of the arm. And then walk back through center and over toward the left, particularly extending the right fingertips. So the torso is coming with the arm over toward the side. This is all part of deepening our breath. Opening up these upper ribs, these side ribs, and then come back to the center. Draw the belly to the spine and just start to curl up so that you come back to neutral on all fours. So we're lifting out of the wrists, and we're also drawing the belly in and up to help lift up and not put so much pressure downward. We're going to extend the left leg back behind us. The thigh is squared. The thigh is rolling in a little bit. The toes, the foot is flexed. The toes are pointing down. See that the head is in line, the crown is in line with the tail, and extend the right arm out in front of you, palm facing in. Pause and breathe here. drawing navel to spine, and then lower. And then we'll switch. Start with the leg, extend that right leg back, flex through the foot, toes pointing down. Check out where your head is. Are you looking down to the mat or down to your feet? Head is an extension of spine, neck. It's all one line here. And then extend the left arm forward, palm facing in. Hips are level. Draw the navel in. Be here and breathe. And then come on down and we'll switch again. So we want to strengthen these paraspinal muscles. That's also part of negating a state of kotzer ruach. And then come down and switch again. One long line from the toes to the fingertips. And then come on back. And one more time, sit it back. It might be child pose or it might be more of a puppy pose with the bottom in the air, and the arms extended and the forehead bowed. And then once again, come on back up. We'll thread the needle, taking a little twist. Inhale the right arm out to the right side, and then thread it behind the left. Lay the right arm down, press into the left fingertips. Just notice any sensation that arises in the tops of the shoulders or between the shoulder blades. You can stay here, or if you'd like, you can extend that left arm up toward the ceiling, palm facing forward, or you can rotate the left arm in, can even take it around the back and grab hold of the right thigh. Just see what you need. Ooh. Bringing up some sensation and breathing into it. And then come on down, press into that left hand to come back to center. Inhale the left arm out to the side and threading the needle, sending it behind the right, again, palm facing up. Press into those right fingertips. I just love this one. Sometimes I hate it, but most times I love it. But this spinning of the rib cage here around the spine is also a big help for freeing up our breathing mechanism. We're giving some extra help to the diaphragm, the flexibility of our diaphragmatic capacity here. Continuing to attune to sensation, and then as you're ready, unraveling, coming back. We're going to step our right foot forward to a low lunge here, and you can have the hands on the floor or on blocks, either hands on either side of the right foot, or if you prefer to have both hands inside, that's nice too. And just see what you're enjoying. And bring a little wiggle, little internal movement to this. So it might be the hips coming forward and back a little bit, or side to side. Just check it out. Little gooiness for the hips. They can get so tight from sitting and from all we do in our daily life. Let the hip flexor open a little bit. Draw your low belly in. Lengthen. Imagine that you can lengthen through your tailbone. And now we're going to inhale, draw that right arm forward and up and around, and exhale as it comes back behind us. And then inhale, bringing it forward, up like you could grab the sky. You might take your gaze with you as well if you like. Exhale, coming around, and a few times like this. Just exploring movement and sensation, always within your own comfort zone. So the main thing I want you to know is that I'm just the tour guide giving some tips and instructions, but the practice is really yours to harness and yours to live and yours to be at choice with your own body and to be responsible for. So anything doesn't work for you, you can stop it, you can try something else. And now we'll pause this one And draw the hips back in space. Flex through that right foot. Give a little stretch to the hamstring as you lengthen the crown of the head forward. Great. And then in any way you like, switch it up. Okay? So that means left foot forward, right foot back. If you want a whole vinyasa in there, go for it. If you just want to indelicately change sides, do that. So again, hands on either side of the left foot. You might choose to use your blocks, or you may bring your hands, both hands, inside the left foot and see how that is. And a little bit of movement. It's really nice whenever you can just bring a little wiggle, a little internal yawning. Poses are never, never static. Even when we're holding them, there's always really like a whole internal environment that we want to get more and more sensitive to. Okay, and then we're going to inhale, bring that left arm forward, and exhale as it comes back and around. Inhale forward. Exhale back and around. Again, really reaching like you could grab a piece of the sky up there and bring it down to earth. Let your whole torso be involved. Your hips are a bit involved. Get really curious and really interested in this movement. And then as you're ready, pause that. Draw both hips back evenly. Flex through that left foot. And you can keep any amount of bend on the left knee as you draw back. We're giving a little sensation, a little stretch to the hamstring, the calf, the whole back of the leg. Wonderful. Okay. Release that. And we're going to come down to the belly. And feel free to lay down a blanket if you want some support, some cushion, even just under your hips. For instance, if your low back troubles you in any way, it can be nice to elevate just under the hips. Place your forearms in front of you, stack your hands, and allow your head to rest on the back of your hands. And once again, as you breathe, feel the belly move against the mat. As you inhale, the belly presses the mat away. And as you exhale, the belly draws in toward the spine. And you can rock it a little bit, side to side. Gives a little massage to your quadriceps. Reminds the sacroiliac area to release a little bit. Okay, draw the legs in line with each other, draw them together. If that's not comfortable for you, of course, keep them hip-width apart. Draw the navel toward the spine. Extend the right toes as though somebody were pulling on your big toe, and then lift the right leg up, and then lower down. And we're going to do the same on the left. Extend through the toes as if somebody's pulling on your toe, and then lift the leg up and lower down. And just like this, we're going to take several reps. Continue side to side. Extend, lift, lower, and really draw the navel in. Feel a lengthening of the tailbone, a lengthening of the whole leg. We don't want to crunch the lower back. Anyone who's been in PT for low back issues might recognize this exercise. It's a good one for strengthening. Good. So think mostly of lengthening and of ease through the buttocks, right? So you don't want to clench as you go. The muscles will engage, but really think of lengthening the leg. Great, and then pause. Bend through the right knee, point the toes, and feel the hamstring engage, and then switch. Pointed toes, left foot up, and go back and forth, a little bit of flutter kick, a little bit of Esther Williams here. And then if you'd like to add to that, you can press into the forearms and come up on the elbows so that it's a little bit of flutter kick with the torso pressing up. And again, be mindful of the low back. We're going slowly. And then lower down. Very good. So now bend the right knee again. If it's accessible for you, take the right hand and hold the top of the foot or the outer ankle, or if you'd like to turn the palm and take the inner ankle, any of those are good. Any of those grips. Let the foot be easy. And see if you can use the hand to draw the heel toward the buttocks. And don't let the knees splay. So the knee remains in line with the hip. Right heel toward the right buttock. And if the hand doesn't reach to the foot, you can grab a strap if you have one nearby, if you have one handy, or you can just keep up with the flutter kicking, previous exercise if you like. And then release, and we'll switch sides. Bend the left knee. Take hold with your hand or a strap. Draw the heel toward the buttock. Good. And then release, release. Okay, so now we're going to take a half bow, bend the right knee, take hold of the foot, and just press up slightly with the left hand in front of you. It can be really low like I'm doing, or you can press up a little higher if you'd like. This would be just the beginning of it. You could stay right here as I am. And breathe right here. This might be plenty. Just working on keeping the knee in line with the sitting bone. Right? And if you want to go any further, and really keeping length in the low back, if you want to go further, let the top of the foot press into the hand, and as well press into your forearm to come up a little bit. All right, but wherever you are is really, wherever you're coming to your edge and feeling some sensation is a beautiful, full expression of the pose. Don't let anyone tell you differently. And as we're drawing the foot to the hand and opening, we're getting some opening for our upper chest, for our upper ribs, and strengthening our paraspinal muscles. All of this countering kotzer ruach. And then release. And we're going to switch sides. Bend the left knee, take hold. You could just stay right here, right? Or you can take that right forearm, press into the forearm, come up a little. Press the top of the foot into the hand. We don't want to get into a zone of any pain or strain, so if you're feeling anything in the knee, anything in the low back, any crunching, back out of it, come off it. And then release. Come on down. Take a pause. Rock the hips a bit side to side. And then we're going to take Yogi's choice, Yogini's choice. We're going to take any expression of bow that you might like. So it might be repeating half bow, one to each side, or you may want to move into a full bow pose, your choice, or maybe you just want to work on Sphinx, or perhaps you just want to work on leg raises again. You just stay where you are. Whatever is your challenge for today. If you're coming into full bow, you're reaching the hands back, you're taking hold of both feet. The whole pose could be right here, right? Or if you're working into it, once again, press the feet into the hands and let that help lift you up, lift the chest up, widening the collarbones, opening the sternum. Always being mindful of the low back. And then you can start to send the toes up toward the ceiling. When you're ready, release. Bend both knees. We'll take a little windshield wiper side to side. Just massaging out the low back a little bit. And if you'd like, take the toes in circles. Just move the feet in circles, making circles on the ceiling. Just bitty circles, and then the other direction. Okay, and then press yourself up to sitting or come up to sitting. We're going to give ourselves a little supported back bend. So here's my suggestion for today. It's known as heart bench. Isn't that a sweet name? We take one block vertically. It's going to go along our spine. And that can be on the lowest level or can be on the medium level. So you decide how much back bend you're wanting, right? And then the second block is going to come behind it on whichever higher level. So it's either medium high or it's low medium, okay? The first block goes vertically on the mat, and the second block for your head goes horizontally on the mat. If the blocks feel hard and you know that your spine is exposed and it's gonna not feel so good, you can take the blanket and cover both blocks with the blanket, if you like. That's a possibility, like that, like so. So we're coming to sit back, and when we do so, we lower down slowly here, seeing that the first block hits right at the base of the ribs, and the second block is supporting my head. Okay, and then the arms can come out to the sides, or wherever feels most comfortable for them. If it's too much, you'll feel it right away, like you might feel it even as a nervy thing through the arm. It means you need to be lower. Right, so figure out what that is for you. And then knees can stay bent or legs can be extended long. Or you can take the knees out to the sides and have the soles of the feet together. Or lastly, you could do cross legs. And we're going to be here for a few minutes. So you want to see that it's comfortable. And if you find that you're trying to do this dutifully and you cannot get comfortable, then what you'll do is you'll take your blanket and you can roll it up as a jelly roll and lie over it, like we do so often, which can be a nice, different sort of opening. And let me show you that one, just in case for anyone who's not comfortable here, in heart bench. Let me show you an alternative, which more or less is accomplishing the same thing. So jelly roll, which is the one that we take most of the time, is taking your mat from here, your blanket, sorry, folding it nice and tight like a jelly roll, having it horizontally across the mat, then coming to lie on it so that it's right at my shoulder blades, the tops of my shoulder blades. Then I take my elbows behind the blanket, draw myself toward my head side of the mat here. Let the skin of the back draw down my body, right? And then I'm supported here in a similar way. So whichever you've chosen, heart bench or jelly roll. See if you can give the weight of the body over to the support. Let the mid-back be supported. There can be a bit of nice opening and stretch to the front ribs. Breathe in only as deeply as is comfortable. Notice where you feel your body opening. This is a wonderful counter to sitting hunched over a computer. A passive way of opening the fronts of the shoulders, the pectoral muscles, the upper chest. Bringing opening and space for the lungs. And see if you can just surrender. This in itself is a beautiful 5-10 minute yoga practice that will really help to counter the state of kotzer ruach. And then whenever you're ready, with as little effort as possible, come on off your props. And come to stillness on the back. So now we can neutralize the spine again and just feel the effects. So any way you want to take rest. You might be lying on your back. You might prefer lying on your side or lying prone. You can support your low back by rolling up the blanket and placing it under the thighs or the knees, as I've done. Or you can keep your knees bent and soles of the feet on the floor. Or if you're near a wall, you can even take the legs up the wall. It's wonderful relief for the low back. In just a couple minutes. Mr. Iyengar says this is the most important pose of all the poses, where we practice letting go, we practice surrender. A couple moments of stillness, just release your attachment to the work, the effort. Just let the benefits of your practice today begin to infuse your nervous system. And as you're ready, beginning to give your body a nice yawn, stretch, sigh. Wiggle the fingers and the toes, circle the wrists and the ankles. Make any sounds you like. That's the benefit of Zoom. Nobody's listening. And take your time to come up to a comfortable seat. Could be in the chair, could be on the blanket or block. And feel your tall spine. Feel the grounding of your sitting bones. We close by sending the benefit of our practice out. And so I've been choosing since October 7th to close with a piece of our liturgy, Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael. It's a prayer for all who are captive to be released. We pray for the remaining hostages, 130 something of them, I believe, and anyone who feels captive emotionally or in any way, and the link is in the chat and on our screen. So feel free to sing together with me or to listen. Achenu kol Beit Yisrael, Achenu kol Beit Yisrael, Hanetunim betzara, betzara uvashivya, Haomdim ben bayam uven bayabasha. Hamakom yerachem, yerachem alehem, veyotziem mitzara, lirevacha, Hafella leora, umishibud ligeula, hashta bagala, uvizman kariv. May they be held in safety, may they be released from their captivity speedily and soon. Taking a moment to send out any other blessings, whether to yourself, to people who you know who are ill, or just out to the healing of the entire planet. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back.